Hi folks, it's James here. Welcome to another edition of the CD Listening Couch on a Sunday evening. Thought I wasn't going to get one in this evening. It's got a bit late. Had a bit of a week this week. My MacBook Pro has gone in for some repairs. Hoping it's going to be mendable. Just means I don't have access to iMovie at the moment, so I'm recording this straight to my iPod. So there's going to be no editing, it's going to be one take only, and it's going to be quite short as well because I don't have much memory on this particular device. So just wanted to talk you through just a couple of things I'm listening to this week. In the background you can hear this album. This is Bob James. This is a compilation of his 4 albums. He made 4 albums called 1, 2, 3, and the 4th album was called BJ4. And they're all collected together on this absolutely fantastic CD. So Bob James, he was, or is, because he's still with us, he's a kind of jazz composer, jazz arranger, who specialises in this very kind of chilled out, tasteful, kind of creamy, funky, lounge sort of jazz music. Absolutely fantastic stuff, I think. I mean, you know, some people would dismiss this, I suppose, as wine bar music, but the more you get into it, I'll just put on the track before this. These 2 tracks I'm playing here come from the BJ4 album. This track here, When the Wind Blows Free, is absolutely beautiful. It's got all these strings and just this great, you know, bass playing, and it's got a really nice hook, really nice refrain, which you'll hear in a minute. You got the flutes and everything. I don't know, I just love this. I can listen to this all night. This track, I played it about 6 times in a row the other night, just over and over again, you know. It does work as backing music. You can kind of read a book while listening to it, but occasionally, or quite often in fact, I just find myself turning away from the book. This is the refrain. It's just so well done, you know. It reminds me of that kind of Steely Dan kind of vibe, you know. You can dismiss it as just feathery background music, but the more you listen to it, the more you realise just what kind of stupendous musicianship has gone into it. He was discovered by Quincy Jones originally, when he was I think he was just a jazz band leader, and he went on to work with people such as Grover Washington Jr., Stanley Turrentine and Freddie Hubbard as well as an arranger, but he made these 4 great albums back in the 1970s, like I said, and they've all been collected on this rather tasty CD. So yeah, check it out, it's fantastic. There's a track on here called Pure Imagination as well, which is this one, which is it's the theme music to the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory theme, you know, the old 1970s film starring Gene Wilder, and it's just brilliant the way it takes the music from that film and turns it into this kind of lounge jazz epic. Check it out now, and you'll kind of hear it now. It really took me back when I heard this. I used to love that film when I was a kid. Like I said, it's just got this creamy quality to it. It's just delicious. Anyway, yeah, Bob James. I have used his music in videos in the past, and I've ended up with not a copyright strike, but I've ended up with adverts in the video, so you might well find that's happened again. Yeah, anyway, Bob James, genius. Right, another thing I've been listening to this week is this album. This is Orchestra Baob and their album Pirate's Choice. Again, fantastic album. This is a reissue which came out, I think, in the early 2000s, I seem to remember. They are a West African band, or they were a West African band. Great cover. And they made some recordings in the 1970s, which originally, I think they came out on cassette originally, and then somebody pressed an LP of them, and then it went out of circulation for years and years, and then in the early 2000s it came out. I think it's this World Circuit. It might be World Circuit released this. Let me just check. Yeah, I think it's World Circuit. They brought out the original album and also some extra tracks as well, which have been floating around. And Orchestra Baob, they were the house band for a club in, I think it was Senegal, a club called the Dakar Club. And they played this very chilled out sort of Latin-y music with French language in it. Just really kind of silky, luxurious textures, quite slow sounding, with this lovely kind of sparkling guitar. I'll put some on because I can't really describe it. I can't really kind of do justice to it. And I've not really heard many people talk about this record. I don't know if it's got a vinyl release or anything. But I played it again this week. I hadn't heard it for a long time. And I was just reminded as to how beautiful it is. The first CD1 is just 6 tracks, and that was the original record. It's just got this kind of like very laid back kind of party swinging ambience to it. Brilliant guitar playing, really sort of and jazzy kind of horns, you know. Very sensual. You can just sort of drift off to it, really. Beautiful stuff, absolutely fantastic. They did reform, I think. After this record came out, they reformed and made another album, which I have on CD over there as well, and I need to dig that one out too. Yeah, it's got a kind of Latin sound to it, and these kind of very sort of Cuban vocals, you know. Brilliant stuff, great. Orchestra Baob, Pirate's Choice. I think I'll leave it on now. Yeah, right, so, what time are we on? 6:30, okay. I was just going to do a couple more. Robyn Hitchcock, Black Snake Diamond Roll. This is his first solo album, which came out in 1981. And I've had this on the iPod this week, and it's a brilliant album. It really is. I don't know, he's an artist that I sometimes think gets taken for granted. He was with the Soft Boys originally. Like I said, this is his first solo album, which does have some members of the Soft Boys on it. He's a very interesting songwriter, I think, because he's sort of... There's two ways of looking at him. He's kind of derivative in a sense, because he sounds so like Syd Barrett. He's got that kind of British Kevin Ayres, Syd Barrett thing just down to a T. But by the same token, he just finds his own original twist to it. And his stuff is really it's really weird. He's got a kind of weird, he just occupies his own world, you know, lyrically. He just finds these very oblique, strange ways of coming at songwriting. And it's very kind of immersive. He's just able to create his own world. I mean, he must have been fairly young when he made this record, but there's some great stuff on here. The track City of Shame is just brilliant. I'll put down below, I'll put a playlist again like I did last week, and I've got just a low battery symbol there, so I'll try and get rid of that. So that album, which I picked up from Oxfam a while ago, and then this one is I, which came out quite a few years later. This one is, it's a solo album, and this one is mainly just voice and guitar. But his guitar playing is so great, and the arrangements are so ingenious that you often forget that you're just listening to a voice and a guitar. I think he does orchestrate the guitars a bit, but there's no band on this record, and you sort of don't notice really, because his voice fills the soundscape, and the words are so kind of intelligent and just immersive and really emotional as well. I think that's where he's kind of underrated, in the sense that I think some people write him off as just being a bit kind of quirky, a bit too clever for his own good. But then occasionally he'll slip into this much more emotional vibe where he'll sing quite romantic, hot-blooded songs, you know, and they can suddenly creep up on you and touch you and pull your heartstrings in a way. And then, but he's quite capable of then just going back into something quite surreal with a sort of twisted, angular sense of humour to it. I was playing this in the car, and my 10-year-old son was laughing at some of the words, you know. He's just got away with words, I suppose, in a way with a slightly satirical humour. But I love the way he's able to be weird without it being contrived. It's not forced at all, and it's just great the way he taps into those influences, those classic Syd Barrett, Kevin Ayres type influences from the 60s, but he sort of, you know, makes it all his own. Wonderful stuff. Right, I was going to talk about one more record, but I'm going to leave it there now because I've only got about a minute left, I think, on my device. So I apologise, it's only a short instalment. Hopefully next week the computer will be mended. We'll see anyway. I might be stuck with this iPod for another few weeks. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. from the Listening Couch, CD Listening Couch. That was part 2, and I'll see you all soon. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.